You need to get out. That's what my mom said. No warning, no soft landing, just straight to the point. Like I was some unwanted guest who overstayed their welcome. Oh, and did I mention it was my birthday? No, like literally. I had just turned 28. Happy freaking birthday to me, right? A year ago. Let me rewind a little because context is everything. I'm Cameron. At the time, I was working remote as a freelance UI/UX designer, mostly grinding for startup clients who thought exposure was a fair trade for hours of work. I wasn't making bank, but I was paying bills. And not just mine, my family's too. See, I lived in this rundown house in a dusty Ohio suburb with my parents Diane and Gary and my younger brother Austin, who was technically an adult but acted like an influencer with no followers and a god complex. The place always smelled like mildew and burnt coffee. But it was home. My home. Except it never really felt like mine. They called it support. I called it survival. While Austin was out there filming TikToks in our messy-ass living room, I was covering half the utility bills, restocking the fridge, unclogging the stupid sink every week because no one else knows how. I even paid to fix the furnace that winter when the heat gave out. Did anyone thank me? No, I got lectures instead. Cameron, you should think about getting a real job. WTF, Mom, like what even is a real job to you? Apparently, unless I was in scrubs or wearing a damn courtroom badge, I was just playing on my laptop. Meanwhile, Austin could spend 6 hours editing one 15-second clip of himself lip-syncing to Drake and get praised for being creative. Last week. Okay, now fast forward. It's the week before my birthday. I had just landed a new client and decided to treat myself. Not a huge deal, just a nice cake from a bakery I'd been eyeing online and maybe a quiet dinner with the family. So I asked my mom and dad, "Hey, I was thinking maybe we could just do something low-key this weekend for my birthday. Just cake, dinner, chill stuff." She didn't even look up from her stupid home decor magazine. We'll see. We might have plans. Plans. On my birthday. That stung, but I brushed it off. I kept thinking maybe they had a surprise planned. Maybe they were just playing it cool. Silly me, right? This morning, my birthday. I woke up feeling hopeful. I put on the outfit I'd saved for weeks. Went to a coffee shop to work, got a bunch of happy birthdays from clients and online friends. Even splurged on a matcha latte and convinced myself that this year is going to be different. I got home around 6, and I swear my heart dropped straight into my stomach. All my shit, my clothes, books, equipment, even my damn houseplants was piled on the front lawn, just sitting there, in cardboard boxes. Like a garage sale no one wanted to stop for. I blinked thinking it was some kind of sick prank. But nope. There they were, my mom, dad, and Austin standing on the porch like they were about to stage an intervention. Only I wasn't being rescued. I was being evicted. The confrontation. I got out of my car trying to keep it together, but I could already feel the burn behind my eyes. "What the hell is going on?" I asked. My mom stepped forward, arms crossed, voice icy. "It's time you moved out. We need the space. And frankly, Cameron, you need to grow up." Grow up. Grow up. Are you kidding me? I had kept this damn house afloat. I was the reason we still had Wi-Fi. I was the one who figured out how to file Dad's taxes last year because he didn't get that online stuff. My dad just stared at the ground, hands in pockets, silent, like he wasn't part of this. And Austin. That smug little shit just said, "Maybe you should have figured your life out sooner." Just saying. I wanted to scream. Instead, I asked the only thing I could think of. "Can I at least grab my stuff?" My mom waved toward the boxes. "It's all there. You should go now." That was it. No hug. No sorry it came to this. Not even a slice of the cake I bought with my own damn money. Goodbye, more like good riddance. So I loaded my car like a zombie. Every box I picked up felt heavier than the last. Not just because of the weight, but because this wasn't just my stuff. This was my life, my trust, my family, and they were literally throwing it away. I didn't cry in front of them. Screw that. I kept my jaw tight, back straight. But as soon as I hit the road, I pulled into a sketchy little motel with flickering lights and a vending machine that only took quarters, and I broke. Not loud, ugly sobbing, just silent shaking, numb, like I was too shocked to even feel yet. That night, in a scratchy bed with the sound of a couple fighting through the wall, I made myself a promise. Never again. I would never rely on them. I would never let them make me feel small again. I didn't know how the hell I was going to do it, but I knew this. I'd rather crash and burn trying to build something on my own than go crawling back to a family that didn't even care I existed. Last night was brutal. I didn't sleep. Just laid there in that crusty motel bed, staring at the popcorn ceiling, replaying everything in my head like some glitchy YouTube loop. Every single word my mom said. The way my dad couldn't even look at me. The damn smirk on Austin's face. I kept thinking, how did I get here? I had done everything right. Or tried to, at least. I wasn't out partying. I wasn't blowing money on dumb shit. I was working, paying bills, being responsible. And for what to be tossed out like last season's IKEA sale? Screw that. By morning, I was running on 3 hours of sleep and a whole lot of spite. I showered in lukewarm water, got dressed, and dragged my ass back to my laptop. Freelance life doesn't wait for emotional breakdowns. I planted myself at a diner with halfway decent Wi-Fi, ordered the cheapest coffee they had, and started answering emails like nothing happened. Like I wasn't currently living out of my car with my hard drives and backup cables in a duffel bag. That's when my boss Hannah messaged me on Slack. Hey, noticed you're online early. You good? She always had this sixth sense for when something was off. I stared at the blinking cursor for way too long, debating whether to lie or just tell her. I told her everything. Not in a dramatic sobby way, just straight up. My family kicked me out yesterday. It was my birthday. I'm in a motel right now. I'm fine. Just needed to work. She called me immediately. Didn't even wait for me to finish typing. Cameron, what the hell? Her voice came through firm but soft. I didn't even know how to respond. I was bracing for pity or awkward silence. Instead, she said, Look, I have a spare room. You're crashing here until you figure things out. No debate. Just pack your stuff and come over. I blinked. For a second, I honestly thought I misheard. You're serious. Completely. I've been through shit too. And you've been killing it at work. You don't need to go through this alone. I don't cry easily. I didn't even cry last night. But right then, sitting in a booth next to a buzzing soda machine, I felt my throat close up. I didn't even know what to say. Just kind of nodded like a dumbass and whispered thank you. That afternoon, I moved in. Her guest room was small but clean and cozy. Soft gray walls, a queen bed with actual blankets that didn't smell like mildew, and a little window with a view of the backyard. It wasn't much. But to me, it felt like safety. Like maybe I wasn't totally alone. That night, I slept like I hadn't in years. The next few weeks were a grind. I threw myself into work like a lifeline. Took on every freelance gig I could get my hands on. Logos, landing pages, weird startup pitch decks that made no damn sense. I was doing 12-hour days zoning out into Figma until my eyes crossed. Was it healthy? Probably not. But it kept me moving, and more importantly, it kept me from spiraling. Hannah didn't hover. She wasn't a babysitter. But she'd check in now and then, push me to eat, drag me out to Target for groceries. Crack jokes when she saw me stuck in design zombie mode. You know you can rest, right? She said one night, handing me a beer. You don't have to prove anything. I knew that, but I didn't believe it yet. Because deep down, a part of me still thought maybe I was the problem. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe that's why my own parents didn't want me. Then one night my phone buzzed. It was a text from Austin. Just his name made my stomach twist. Hey, can we talk? I stared at the screen, debating if I should even open it. But curiosity won. We ended up on a call. He sounded different. Less smug, more desperate. Cameron, look. Things are bad at home. Dad lost his job. Mom's been blowing through money. I'm behind on tuition. I didn't know who else to call. I didn't say anything at first. Just let the silence hang there like smoke. You're calling me now, I finally said. After you stood there watching while they kicked me out on my birthday. He didn't deny it. Just exhaled and said, I know. I was a dick. I thought you were just being dramatic. But things are really falling apart. Oh, poor baby. I wanted to feel something. Anger, guilt, pity. But all I felt was done. Look, I said. I get it. You're struggling. But that's not my problem anymore. You all made it crystal clear where I stood. He didn't argue, just sighed and mumbled, Yeah, I figured. Then the call ended. I stared at the wall for a while after that. Not sad, not mad, just free. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't dragging my old life around like an anchor. Like I could finally choose who and what I gave my energy to. A month passed, and then something wild happened. Hannah called me into her office with this weird smile on her face. Guess what she said? You're getting promoted, lead designer, with a raise. I actually froze. What? You heard me. You've been killing it. Clients love your stuff. It's time. I was speechless. Literally just stood there blinking at her like a goldfish. You okay? She laughed. I didn't expect this. Well, believe it. You earned it. That night, I walked into Target and bought myself the biggest damn chocolate cake I could find. Lit a candle, sang myself happy birthday even though it was 2 months late. It wasn't about the cake. It was about this moment realizing I made it. Not all the way, but far enough to finally breathe. To finally stop waiting for approval that was never gonna come. I wasn't the girl sobbing in a motel anymore. I was rebuilding, slowly, steadily, on my own terms. No begging, no apologies. Just me, earning every inch of the peace I never got growing up. And yeah, maybe I did whisper a quiet little, "Screw you, Diane," as I took that first bite of cake. Because healing looks different for everyone. Sometimes it looks like chocolate frosting and silence. It had been about 3 months since I moved into Hannah's place. 3 months since I'd packed up my life from a moldy motel and started to piece myself back together. I wasn't thriving, not yet, but I was stable, focused, steady. I was saving up every extra dollar went into a fund labeled My Future Not Theirs. I even started casually browsing apartment listings. It was like I was testing the waters of freedom inch by inch. My days were packed. Lead designer now, remember, it wasn't just a fancy title. I was running point on entire campaigns. Clients trusted me. Hell, people asked for me by name. I was actually respected. That part's still weird, but good weird. Then, one Wednesday afternoon, right in the middle of mocking up a fintech app that looked like it was built by someone's cousin on Wix, my phone buzzed. Gary, my dad. Of course, his number was still saved. Don't ask me why. I stared at it for a solid 10 seconds. My gut reaction: ignore, decline, block. But curiosity is a hell of a drug. I answered, my voice flat. Hello. There was a pause like he didn't expect me to pick up. Cameron, it's your father. No shit. I know, I said, sharper than I intended. What do you want? Another pause. Then we'd like to come by. Your mother, Austin, and I. I actually laughed. Not the cute kind. The kind that says, are you fucking serious right now? You want to, Just to talk, he said. Maybe clear the air. I leaned back in my chair, blinking at my screen like I'd just seen a ghost. Why now? No answer. You're not showing up at my job or something, right? No, just your apartment. Tomorrow if you're free. I should have said no. I wanted to say no. But something in me, spite curiosity, who knows, said yes. Fine, 10 minutes, that's it. The next day, I made sure everything in the apartment was spotless. Not for them. For me. I wanted it to scream, I'm doing fine without you. And it did. Clean white walls. Plants thriving on the windowsill. My own art framed above the couch. No weird smells, no guilt trips, no passive-aggressive family dinners. Just peace. At 5:00 on the dot, the doorbell rang. I checked the security cam first because, duh. And there they were. All 3 of them. Like a weird parade of regret. I opened the door. My mom pushed past me without a word, heels clacking like she owned the place. Her eyes immediately scanned the room like she was judging a house on a reality show. Austin followed, hands in his hoodie, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. My dad brought up the rear, awkward, silent, holding a grocery store bag that I'm guessing had some pathetic "we come in peace" offering. I didn't say a word, just crossed my arms and waited. Well, my mom said, finally breaking the silence. You've done well for yourself. That fake smile on her face, I wanted to punch it off. I didn't respond. So I said finally, why are you really here? She cleared her throat like she was about to deliver some grand speech. We've been thinking, and we believe it's time we come back together. As a family. I stared at her like she'd grown 3 heads. You believe it's time? Yes, she said, folding her hands neatly in her lap. We've had some financial setbacks, and since you've clearly got the space. I barked out a laugh. You're joking. Austin jumped in, trying to sound casual. Come on, Cam, don't be dramatic. We're family. Oh, now I'm family again. You threw me out on my birthday, I snapped. You dumped my belongings on the lawn like trash. You didn't even call, not once. And now what? You want to move in because you burned through your money. My dad tried to step in. Cameron, we just thought. No, I said, don't Cameron me like we're cool. You watched them do it, you said nothing. Silence. Then my mom stood up, her face shifting from sugary to sour like flipping a switch. You should be grateful, she hissed. We gave you the push you needed. Look at you now. Oh, so this is credit taking now, I shot back. You think you made me successful. If we hadn't forced you out, you'd still be freeloading, she spat. Freeloading. I saw red. You mean paying half your bills? Fixing your leaking pipes? Keeping the lights on while Austin played influencer. Austin muttered something under his breath. I didn't catch it. Didn't care. Look, my dad said we just need a place to stay for a bit. We thought this could be a fresh start. A fresh start. They kicked me out with no warning, no compassion, no backup plan. And now they were pitching a family reunion. You thought wrong, I said. My mom's eyes narrowed. You don't mean that. This is our family's success. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for us. That was it. I walked to the door, opened it wide, and pointed. Get out. Her jaw dropped. Excuse me. You heard me. Out. You're not living here. You're not staying the night. Hell, you're not staying 5 more minutes. You can't do this, she snapped. We have rights. This is a family matter. If you want to be difficult, we can go to court. I laughed again, bitter and loud. Oh my God, you really think you can sue me for the apartment I paid for on a lease with only my name using money I earned? She crossed her arms. We'll find a way. Don't underestimate us. Lady, I said, stepping in closer, you've been underestimating me my whole life, and now you're gonna learn what that costs. They left, eventually. My mom shot me one last death glare as she stepped out. My dad looked like he wanted to say something but didn't. Austin didn't even look back. I shut the door behind them and leaned against it, heart pounding. I should have been shaken, but I wasn't. I was done. Done playing nice, done shrinking, done pretending blood was more important than peace. That night, I called Mike, my friend, and conveniently also my lawyer. I told him everything, every threat, every word, every vibe. You've got options, he said. Want to file a restraining order? I didn't even hesitate. Do it. I wasn't being petty. I was protecting my damn life. They wanted to test me. Fine. They just picked the wrong daughter. By the time the restraining order was filed, I felt like I could finally breathe again. Like I'd slammed a steel door shut between me and everything that used to drain the life out of me. Mike handled the paperwork like a total pro dude practically lives for moments like this. He'd been a litigator for 6 years and had dealt with toxic family cases before, so when I sent him all the receipts, texts, voicemails, screenshots of the threatening messages my mom sent after I kicked them out, he just nodded and said, we've got them cornered. I wasn't trying to be dramatic or cruel, but when someone tells you we have rights to your apartment after they kicked you out of their house like a dog on your birthday, yeah, you draw the damn line. And I did, in ink with a court seal. The restraining order barred them from contacting me, showing up at my place, or trying to weasel in through any mutual friends. Which, ironically, is exactly what they did next. Because toxic people, they don't stop, they pivot. 2 days later, my phone blew up with messages from people I hadn't heard from in years. A cousin I hadn't seen since high school. A neighbor from our old block. Even my mom's former coworker who I once babysat for during a holiday party. All of them suddenly wanted to check in, which in plain English meant I heard your mom's version of the story, and now I'm curious what the hell is going on. Here's a taste. Hey, just heard from your mom. She's heartbroken. Said she doesn't know why you've cut her off like this. Austin said you've been acting different. Are you okay? Your mom said you're filing legal action against your own family. That can't be true, right? I nearly threw my phone across the room. They were painting me out to be the villain. Me. The girl who paid bills, who fixed shit, who worked her ass off while Austin filmed thirst traps, and my mom pretended to be a lifestyle consultant on Facebook. So I did what any rational, exhausted, emotionally done person would do. I blocked them all. Every single one. Then I went to Target, bought a scented candle and a brand new pair of headphones, and treated myself to a night of zero bullshit. Of course, the drama didn't stop there. A week later, Mike called me up with a new update. And this one made my jaw drop. Cameron, he said I've been digging a little deeper just in case they try to countersue or claim anything legally. And, your parents are in deep. I sat up straight. What do you mean deep? They've got tax problems. Major ones. Like unpaid property taxes, years of skipped filings, questionable deductions. And it gets better, your mom may have committed fraud by listing your old freelance income as part of her household earnings when she applied for a loan. I blinked. She what? He sighed. It's bad, and dumb, and super illegal. I didn't know whether to scream or laugh. All those times she accused me of being irresponsible, of not having a real job. Meanwhile, she was basically committing white-collar crime from the dining room. Karma is slow, but she always shows up. Mike continued. If they try anything in court, all this becomes public record. So, odds are they'll back off. I let that sink in. For the first time, I realized they needed me way more than I ever needed them. And I wasn't their backup plan anymore. A couple weeks passed. Things got quieter. For a second, I almost thought they'd given up. Then one morning, I opened my inbox to find something wild. An anonymous tip. Just a plain email. No name, no signature, just, you should check out what your mom's been posting in her Facebook group. She's not as quiet as you think. So I did. And holy shit. Turns out Diane had been venting in some family support network group with like 5,000 members, writing dramatic-ass posts about how her ungrateful daughter abandoned her after years of sacrifice, and how she was now heartbroken and homeless thanks to betrayal. She had people commenting stuff like, "You poor thing, stay strong. She'll come back around. They always do. Cutting off your mom, that's abuse. Abuse." I stared at the screen stunned. This woman really out here crowdsourcing sympathy like she didn't literally evict me on my birthday. And then, I don't even know what possessed me, I made a burner account. Didn't post, didn't comment, just watched. Because now I knew this wasn't just a family drama. This was a PR war. And guess what? I don't play defense anymore. I called Mike again. What happens if she keeps posting lies like actual defamation? He gave me options, legal ones. But he also gave me something better. Want me to help you write a formal cease and desist? Can we make it sound really professional? Like terrifyingly calm? Oh, he said, grinning. It'll read like a velvet hammer. We sent it that night. Certified mail, legal language, receipts attached. Within 2 days, the posts were gone. And so was her account. Now that the noise had died down, I had space to think. To feel, actually. And what hit me hardest wasn't the betrayal. I was used to that. It was the silence that followed. The space where love should have been. The years I spent trying to earn something that was never going to be given. My whole life I thought if I worked hard enough, helped enough, stayed quiet enough, I'd finally get their approval. Spoiler alert, I never got it. And I never will. But for the first time, I'm okay with that. Because approval isn't peace. And peace is what I've been chasing all along. Last night, I sat on my balcony looking out at the city with a glass of wine in one hand and a signed lease in the other. I got my own place. Not just a room in someone's guest house, not a motel, mine. It's small, top floor, lots of natural light. Hardwood floors that creak in a way I've already decided is charming. No yelling, no silent treatment, no walking on eggshells. Just me, and the kind of quiet that heals. I hung up my art on the wall, set my laptop on a real desk, and lit the candle I bought the day I blocked them all. Then I did something that surprised even me. I wrote a letter. Not to send, just for me. It said, "You were wrong about me, but thank you for kicking me out. Because without that moment, I wouldn't have found this version of myself, the one who says no, who draws lines, who walks away and doesn't look back. You called it betrayal. I call it becoming." I folded the letter, put it in a drawer. Then I went to bed. And for once, I slept all the way through. If you're out there and you've ever been made to feel like your worth depends on your usefulness, let me say this. You are allowed to leave. You are allowed to cut ties. You are allowed to be the villain in someone else's story if it means you finally become the main character in your own. And if they come back knocking on your door with open hands and crocodile tears, you open the door just long enough to say, "Not this time." Then you close it and lock it. 2 months into living on my own, things finally felt stable. Not perfect, not magically healed, but mine. I had my routines, my playlist for cooking dinner, my Sunday morning walks, My weird obsession with overpriced throw pillows. And no one to criticize any of it. No snide remarks, no backhanded comments, no "you're wasting your money on that." Just silence, the good kind. Work was steady too, projects flowed in. My name was starting to pop up on LinkedIn more. I even got invited to speak on a panel about freelance design. Yeah, me. The same girl who used to sleep in a motel bed surrounded by unpacked boxes and shame. And best of all, the drama had stayed dead. Or so I thought. One Friday afternoon, I was halfway through finalizing a dashboard redesign when I got a text. From Mike. "You home? Check your front door." I raised an eyebrow and walked over expecting a package or maybe some snacks he'd dropped off. Instead, there was an envelope, hand-delivered, no stamp, no sender. And inside it, a freaking letter. From my mother. It wasn't even a real apology. Just 4 pages of emotionally manipulative BS written in her dramatic looping cursive. She opened with, "I'm sorry you felt hurt by the choices we had to make." You felt hurt. That's not an apology. That's a gaslight wrapped in calligraphy. Then she went on about how hard things have been lately, how the house might be foreclosed, how Austin had to drop out of school, how my dad wasn't sleeping, and how she hoped I could find it in my heart to come home. Home. They always call it that when they want something. She ended with, "Families fight, but they always find their way back to each other. We're still your parents." I stood there, letter trembling in my hand, pulse pounding. Not because I was tempted, but because how dare they? How dare she hand-deliver a letter like we're back in Jane Austen times instead of picking up a phone months ago? How dare she gloss over everything with poetic bullshit, like she didn't personally throw me to the curb with a smile? I didn't respond. Not right away. I just folded the letter and shoved it in the back of a drawer with the rest of the ghosts I refused to burn just yet. But I couldn't shake it. The audacity of it. The way she weaponized nostalgia. It got under my skin. So I called Mike. He didn't say anything for a second, then just went, "She's testing your boundaries." I laughed bitterly. She must have thought they were suggestions. "Want me to send another letter?" "No," I said. "I think I'm ready to do this one myself." So I wrote back. 1 page, no tears, no fluff, just truth. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice, and choices have consequences. I'm not your daughter when you need help and a stranger when you don't. You say family finds their way back, but that only works when both sides want to build a bridge. I built a door instead, and I locked it. This is not hate. This is clarity. Please don't contact me again. I didn't mail it. I dropped it off myself. Right in their rusted mailbox, the same one I used to fix every spring when it leaned sideways, like the whole house was trying to leave with me. And I walked away without looking back. You'd think that would be the end, right? But my family, they don't fade out. They escalate. A week later, my old high school friend Kelly messaged me out of nowhere. "Hey, just FYI, your mom's been telling people at church that you're in therapy for mental breakdowns. She said you made everything up and might need intervention." I actually laughed out loud. "Of course she did," I replied. "Classic Diane." Kelly sighed. "I don't believe her, but people are talking." I shrugged. Let them. Because here's the thing I've learned, letting them talk is easier than trying to make them listen. You can't logic your way out of narcissism. You can't explain your hurt to someone who thrives on denying it. So I didn't correct the rumors. I didn't call up her pastor or write a social media post. I just doubled down on building my life. And speaking of that, let me tell you about the good stuff. The real stuff. Hannah's still a damn rock star. We'd grown tight over the months. She introduced me to a community of other creatives, people who actually got it, who didn't roll their eyes when I said I needed to rest, who saw burnout not as weakness, but as something worth avoiding. We started having Friday night dinners, casual hangouts, people who brought wine, playlist stories from their week. I started feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Connected. Then there was Taylor, one of the people from Hannah's friend group, graphic designer. Sharp sense of humor, smiles like they're keeping a secret. We ended up working on a project together, late nights turning into brunches, edits turning into accidental coffee runs. One night, as we sat on my couch sharing takeout, Taylor looked at me and said, "You're not like most people I've met." I tilted my head. That a good thing or bad? It's, "You've survived fire and somehow made it look like sunlight" thing. I didn't respond, just smiled. Because maybe for the first time, someone saw me fully. Not the fixer, not the disappointment, not the backup plan. Just me. Then came the final straw. Mike called one evening. "So, a weird question, but did you ever co-sign anything for your parents?" My stomach dropped. "No, why?" He hesitated. "Because someone just tried to open a credit line using your info. They had your social." I went cold. What the fuck? I'm digging into it, but it's looking personal. Turns out it was my mom. She'd kept an old W-2 I left behind in the move. Used it to verify me for a small loan application. And when the lender flagged the inconsistency, they contacted the legal address, which was mine. I couldn't breathe. She hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. She was trying to mess with my financial life, my future. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I filed. Fraud. Identity theft. It wasn't petty. It was necessary. The cops called her. She denied everything. Then tried to guilt trip them with a whole "but I'm her mother" speech. Didn't work. There's a record now, a warning, and if she ever tries again, it goes straight to prosecution. She tried to weaponize my love, then my silence, then my name. She lost every time. The night I found out she was flagged for fraud, I went to the rooftop of my building. It was cool out, quiet. The city buzzed below, but up there everything felt still. I looked at the skyline, took a sip of my coffee, and whispered, that was the last time. Not a threat, a promise. To myself. To the girl, I used to be the one who begged for scraps of love, who apologized for needing space, who bent herself backward for people who only saw her when it was convenient. That girl is gone. The woman standing here. She doesn't flinch anymore. She doesn't explain. She builds, she protects, she chooses. And this time, she chooses herself.